Yes, expect them wows to come there. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Everyone's in the chat already. That's lovely to see. Welcome to the Potty Mouth Garden Club. We'll get rid of all that. Carry on there. I am Tony C. Smith. And before we get into the meet the guests, that's just a little bit of housework as normal. Don't forget our Discord is there as well. That would be lovely to kind of have you on the Discord channel. And I just pulled like a screenshot, and that is actually what's going on. Do you know what I mean? It's like how much is getting talked about on the channel and stuff like that. I just think that's actually fantastic. It's like people are just writing loads and loads and loads. We have every Friday this will come out. So we've been doing, and you'll see what it's been like tonight because it's been hideous. We've lost all sound. Well, no one could hear me. Now, when that happens, when no one hears me, then it's kind of my fault that I start to panic. So that's on Friday's show as well. So let's get into the Potty Mouth Garden Club. Yes, and there we are. We have Stephen, Soph, and Audrey tonight. A fantastic lineup of experts to guide us through our gardening. Where are they gone? Where's the experts gone? Stephen, are you well, sir? Are you well?
I am, thank you. Very well, thank you. And can I just say happy birthday, Daisy?
Oh, thank you very much. You know what? I would have forgotten. I remembered on the show, on the video, but I would have forgotten. Yes, Daisy is 3 years old today, so she's here. Oh. Thank God, you know what I mean? That's the kind of nice thing. She's actually here. So, yeah. And, funny enough, Steve, when my wife's they've been down to the York, they're back there now, sending us pictures of another Doberman puppy. Oh, look at you, needs rescuing. It's like, you are kidding me. You are kidding me. So, anyhow.
She's coming home with it.
No, you bloody better not. Right, Audrey, how are you doing? Nice to have you on again.
Doing great to be here. Hello, everybody.
I was just showing Audrey, look at you've got like 5 degrees in Detroit there, 5 degrees. I am a bloody freezing cold 1 degrees. Now, if we go to Steve as well, Steve's in Cockermouth, and he's 6 degrees. Steve, it's bloody red hot over there.
You know, it ain't.
What's Sophie?
That thing lies like a cheap watch.
Look at that. Sophie's
that is about right.
Man, you could be planting bloody seeds in that kind of temperatures.
Don't.
Yeah.
1 degree in Whitburn, and we're on the coast, and normally we're, you know what I mean. That kind of gives us a little buffer to kind of get into it, you know. But are you as well, everyone? Nice to have you here. Yes. Has much gardening done this time, Sophie? Have you been this week? Have you done much gardening?
More. I'm at the new plot more than anything. So I'm still just sorting that out. It's a lot of digging. I spent too many hours this week and just gone sorting out the compost bin, like we were talking about. Only because the last person that was there, I'm sure they had good intentions, and they left loads of bags of leaf mold, and I'm swimming in it now. It's great, but there was so much plastic in the compost bin that I had to take it all out and sort of and I was just there siphoning through it, trying to get all the microplastic out, and nightmare.
Well, so if I've seen a picture now, I'm going to show a picture, but this is not your plot. But I'm sure is your new plot. Was it like because I'm sure this picture came from JB. Like, was it as messy as that? You know what I mean? Like kind of long grass, or was it all kind of nicely new and all sweet?
It was long grass. It was long grass like that, and asparagus. I don't know, for some reason the whole of the plot has been planted asparagus from head to toe. So it's just loads of sprigs of that everywhere and grass. So yeah.
So how have you managed to kind of sort all that out? You know what I mean? What's your method to get rid of it?
So at the moment, just trim it down, and then I've just been with just like a normal rake, just been going around raking up all the debris. So I've got a nice clean sort of untouched surface, and then just digging it over.
Right.
And then obviously we've got access to all the fresh compost now, so I'm not sure if to put that on yet or but I'm just digging, digging and planning.
Right. So it basically is just like digging and getting them weeds out and then moving like a couple of foot. You know what I mean? Is it slow going? Is it or
Slow, really slow. It's really overwhelming, to be honest. But I've got one of those little things that's just like string. So just been sectioning off little areas and doing it that way. But even then, I look up and I'm like, oh, there's so much to go.
So what has that plot been like looked after in the way of like it's got little kind of paths and little beds, or is it just one stretch of
No,
the ground?
it's just all land. All land. I think the lady showing me around said the last guy, he rotivated it religiously.
Right.
So I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but when I sort of walk on the ground, I almost sink. So the soil is so soft and sort of tilled, I guess the word is. So soft and tilled, but I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. So I'm there like, what else can I do?
We'll ask Stephen, because I was gonna like this was like to say that picture there. It came from like JB, and I don't know if JB's looking at a plot. You know what I mean? But what is the best way to get? Because I know like the right thing, you know, like the Charlie Dowden one is like cardboard, compost, you know what I mean, and put some like pumpkins down. Now, this is just the far left idea, Stephen. So don't get. Could you not just, you know, safety in mind? Could you not just burn that all off? Would that not? Because you know, Soph's on about like strimming it there. That's just going to kind of totally more seeds. Well, burning might get rid of it wouldn't get rid of the roots. You know, if you could do them in like, I'm on about burning in like controlled ways, the way the Forestry Commission do. You know what I mean? Could you do it like that, Steve, or has that just been a waste of time?
You could if it was your own piece of land. The thing is, with it being on an allotment plot, is that they've probably got site rules against such things and about open fires anyway. And you've also got to bear in mind that most allotment sites are sort of surrounded by houses, and I don't think the neighbours, if they've got the washing hanging out, are going to be too happy with that. So you've got to be careful with those sorts of things. But it would burn off.
Right.
But so I think what Sophie's doing is right, to be honest. A little bit at a time. I would cover some ground for later. I wouldn't dig the whole plot over through the winter. I would cover half of it and start working on the rest.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's definitely a direction I'm trying to go in, but it's very daunting at the moment. Yeah. Sort of trying to take it all in.
So there'll be no petrol, right? Don't go down my way and just cheat and just burn it all. You know what I mean? That's the fire starter in me. Because I was looking, like I say, when you see JBs, and if you could, do you know what I mean? Like a little controlled way, and it'd just be like, dig out the roots and that. But because I've been, would you believe that allotment of mine was kind of when I first took it over. Do you know what I mean? It was like I forget the big, what's them big thistles, Steve, that grow like height above me. I forget what they're called there now, but it was just full of like thistles.
Large thistles.
Large thistles. That's not the best you can come up with. Oh, I forget what people like cut them and put them in flower vases. You know what I mean? The kind of ornamental.
Not milk thistles, no.
What's off?
Not milk thistles. That's not it, right? With my limited knowledge.
It's better than large thistles. At least you give it a try there, kind of thing.
Yeah, you could have been cardoons or something like that.
I don't know. I kind of. Audrey, you'll not really kind of have any kind of worries like that. You know, like a maintenance garden. When you are putting your beds, do they get? I'm not saying out of control over the winter, because I guess nothing grows over there in the winter time. But do your beds get any weeds?
Well, of course they get weeds. Yes, they get weeds. Over the winter, not so much, because nothing can grow here. So there's usually spring is beautiful, but then we get that first hot day, and the weeds just come out of everywhere. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. They love that hot, dry weather.
Oh, I know.
They just love that.
Well, while we're here, while I think on as well, if you want a question answered by our guests there, that would be fantastic. I forgot to mention this. Please put the letter Q, capital Q, and I'll do a search there now. Put the little Q in before your answer, then we can ask the way, and I can see beans, brew, and bread has already got one in there. Now, before we even go to that, I want to just kind of highlight Claire's. Please go over now and subscribe to, the Growing Plotty. Got 138 subscribers. Come on, we can do better than that for Claire. Claire's just started. You know, so like our first video was kind of like, I love like the first videos, like you do. You kind of, I don't know what I'm, it's all shaky camera and that, but it's certainly getting better there now. And it's just like, Claire's knowledge is just fantastic, to be honest. And the amount of posts she does in the Discord is just unreal. So please pop over. Let me just show you again so you can kind of have one last look. It is Growing Plotty. There, let's please.
You should show that other screenshot you've got of Discord, the one where you showed all the active chat, because I noticed most of the posts in there were from her. Right.
Let me just see if I can find that then. There
you go. Look,
she's all over. I know Claire's just like amazing in the and it's lovely to kind of read them as well. The kind of the knowledge she's got is kind of fantastic. So yes, please. So and don't forget, like you say, the questions. Put your letter Q. And so I can say, right, beans, brew, and bread is saying, let's have a look. Am I being too cautious in getting the plot site manure delivery tested for whatever that nice long word is before ordering a load of my plot? The farmer's only down the road and I might test a batch. Steve, that's something I wouldn't have even thought of. Is that something that you would do, test manure for what? How do you pronounce it?
Aminopyralids.
Right.
It's a weed killer, and when the weed killer goes on you, kills the weeds, it stays active, and it can end up going through a cow when they eat the hay later, going into your manure. So it's worth testing. It's worth doing a bean test, but it's probably the wrong time of year now, unless you do it on your windowsill at home. Probably the best thing to do is find somebody else who's had the same manure from the same place and see how they've got on with it. Go, take a chance. If they've had no problems, you can still get the manure and test it, but that would be the way I would do it.
What did you say, Steve, about how long it was last? How long would it last then if it's went through the cow system and everything that digest? Because you would have thought it would have kind of been killed off there, but obviously not. So how long does it last afterwards?
I don't know how long it lasts. I just know that the cows later can eat the hay that was cut where the aminopyralid was used, and it goes right the way through a cow's stomach. And a cow's got 4 stomachs. It goes right the way through. The manure comes out the other end, obviously, and then we use that, and it kills our plants. How long it lasts in the soil, or how long it lasts in total, I don't really know. I just know I don't want it. That's all.
Mine is like something I never thought of. So is it must be something new for you as well to kind of realise that there is a chance you're getting bad manure.
I didn't think about that. At all. But we've obviously got where my new allotment is. It's attached to stables, so that's where we get all our manure from. It's literally right next to the plot. I can see the horse. I can see the horse it's coming from. But I didn't even think about that. So maybe that's something I should do.
Well, when you think you're getting it, I kind of resist this. You're getting it from the horse's mouth, but no, you're getting it from the horse's back. Yeah, straight from the horse's arse. Should we say there? So.
Yeah, but she's got a cheap plot anyway, and toilets, and free manure, and free wood chip. Yeah, she's doing all right.
Doing all right there. So if that is a kind of.
It's
I know
insane.
you've got the work cut out, but that work's going to be there for a season if that. And I think what Steve mentioned there, section it off. Forget one half of it. Just forget it for a bit. Just black plastic it. Do you know what I mean? Or smother it with something and just forget about it and just work on. Yeah. At least you can get something planted and grown, and
Yeah, a part of me just gets a bit worried with the allotment associations, because the one I was at previously, we didn't have anything like that. And now I know people are sort of watching the plot. I'm like, I must get everything done. I've got to get it ready. So it's it's like a different kind of pressure.
So
work at your own pace and keep looking over your shoulder. The main thing is in winter, you don't really realise when a slightly warmer spell comes along and the weeds will start growing behind you as you're digging forward. So keep a hoe to hand, hoe once a week. Even if you don't see weed growth, just keep hoeing it over once a week and it'll keep you right.
Okay.
That's a kind of brutal, honest, like bit of advice there. You know what I mean? You kind of slog your guts out, and it's already growing behind you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just like goodness. Do you know what I mean? So
I wonder if the gentleman who asked that question could just ask the farmer if he sprays anything. I mean, that might just be a whole lot easier. And I'm sure he would tell you if he did. I don't know.
You know what I mean? It's so simple, Audrey, isn't it? When you kind of think about it. Thank you so much for a little bit of sanity there. Yes, just ask the farmer. Do you know what I mean?
There is a caveat to that though. In this last year, Tony, we've had such bad weather and hay crops have either been good or they've been bad. And if a farmer hasn't got enough hay and he's had to buy some in from another farm, that's where your problems start.
Right.
So you're never actually, 100% guaranteed that all the hay that's gone through his livestock is his own hay.
Well, so in a way, then you could say that, Steve, when you think about it, that you're never going to really get the true answer because you could do a sample, and yes, that sample's passed, then he brings in a whole load more. Do you know what I mean? And that's kind of, you know what I mean? So
that's why so many gardeners get caught out by it. Even gardeners in the know, and those gardeners who are quite pernickety and do a lot of tests, even those will get caught out. I mean, we've both seen Charles Dowding getting it. If somebody like of his ilk is going to get that problem, you know how easy it is to get past all these rigorous checks that need to be done.
I wonder if, here's the thing, because when you mentioned about my garden, Steve, about, like I might have lost like a lot of nitrogen, I went and got some bought bags of manure.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be in them, would it? Surely there would be like stringent tests before.
It has been.
Never.
It has been in bought compost before. It's been a few years since I've seen it, but there'll be many folk on here now watching who have seen that happen over the years. Right. Yeah, it definitely comes in bought compost because they're using such vast quantities of the stuff. They can't test everything. And even if they say they are, I don't think they are.
Right. Oh, there's not much hope then. You know what I mean? Beans, brew and bread. That's it. You'll have it. Just take it that you'll have it. Do you know what I mean? Now, I know we're kind of talking about compost, Stephen, and let me just get this little, you're emptying your hot bin. I have been, no word of a lie, I have been kind of so looking forward to this kind of video coming just to see what it's like. I mean, this hot bin is like the hot bin, it's like the Ferrari of kind of compost bins. Now, when I watched it, Steve, I'll be honest, I felt that you were a little bit disappointed. No, I know you said you were kind of rushed. You rushed in, you jumped the gun a little bit. But it just felt like I was expecting it to be just like totally broken down, ready to go. Yeah. And now you've got to kind of wait another little month, and you took a nice load off anyways to kind of, seed the other one. Hand on heart, what do you think then? You know what I mean? Were you disappointed? Are you kind of, it's going all right? You know what I mean? Because I was thinking hot bin fast, the turnover is going to be magnificent. You know what I mean?
Well, I was a little bit at first when I first saw it, because I did it all on video. Even my first look at it, I was like, okay. Because I was a bit presumptuous. The thing is, I know that the bin is not level, and I know that I need to dig that ground level. The soil I'm digging out from there is going to be used where I'm going to be putting my new polytunnel. So I wanted that soil. So I thought, well, that compost bin's now kind of nearly ready. I took the lid off knowing that I would have to take the top couple of layers off and use it elsewhere. I did think the stuff underneath would be a bit further on than it was. It's still warm under there. It's still composting. Another month, it'll be fine. So I was a little bit disappointed for a number of reasons. I wanted to dig it out underneath. I wanted that soil, which I'll have to get somewhere else now. But otherwise, it's breaking down lovely, and it's going to be a lovely compost. So I'm happy.
Well, it's funny because I know we'll get to like Audrey and Sophie now, but I just want to kind of keep on drilling down for you, because I did. There was a great video of a young lad who did a video today of compost. Fantastic! I recommend everybody to go and kind of watch that video. But I was thinking, am I right, Steve? If you're doing a hot compost, and now I did a cold kind of batch there, I got loads of worms, loads of them, and I always thought like good compost has got loads of worms in it, but surely your hot compost must kill everything.
Won't have them, no.
Aye.
No, it won't have the worms in it. It's the microbes in the soil that's breaking all the compost down that creates the heat, which further encourages more of them species to breed and breaks it down quicker. Later on, when they stop feeding on that, the heat goes down and then the worms come in.
Right.
When it's cooled down, and then they start eating away through it and process it. You could call that a form of maturing, if you like. So if at Christmas I empty that and it's mostly broken down, I could go and stick it in a bag or a bucket or trug or something, and then worms will come in and they'll properly mature it, ready for use. But I don't care. I only want it for a mulch for a bed anyway, so I'll just spread it and let the worms deal with it there.
Right. Because I was like I say, I was thinking, well, surely you'll not get, in the hot bin process. There is no kind of obviously life. There is life there, but in a kind of microbial kind of setting.
That's it. Yeah.
Not.
It's all microscopic stuff in there.
I don't know if Audrey, did you see Steve's video about it, or have you watched Steve's?
I did.
What did you think?
I kind of had the same thought. I thought initially he was very excited, then was a little disappointed, but I thought that has not been in there very long. So I thought it actually did pretty well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I didn't expect him to just open it up and there's this pile of black gold. I did not expect that.
Right. I was, to be honest, Audrey, I thought, I was, like I say, we've had the little kind of private videos of Steve kind of, look at this. So I was honestly thinking, this is going to come out. You know what I mean? Like,
but there were some pieces of it that were like that. And I bet further down in that pile, there's a whole lot of more fully rotted, ready to go.
I think so too.
I thought it was a great success.
That was the other thing, really, was that I didn't just fill it all in one go and left it alone. I continually filled it and kept filling it to the top, and then it would drop down again over a couple of days, and I'd fill it up again. I just kept filling it, and the last time I put compost in there or material was about 6 weeks ago. So that's really not long enough. So there would have been a couple of fill-ups there that were only 6 to 8 weeks old, Good enough for making a mulch, but not really proper full-blown compost. So again, that's my fault and me being too keen.
That must be the way. Surely that's how they use it anyway, Steve. You keep on adding as you get material. Yeah. It's not meant for like a one batch lid on forget it kind of process.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, I think if you did a one batch, one fill thing, it would be done ultra quick, probably within 2 months. I think ready and good enough to be able to use for a mulch. But I'm just super keen. When you see me, what I'm like with the videos I've sent you guys privately, just so over the moon with the thing. It's steaming away there. It's working. I'm making tons of compost. So super excited.
Did you see it, Sophie? Have you watched it? What was your thoughts?
I've been following so closely because anything compost is just amazing to me. I just love the whole process. But I just like watching. Obviously, both the bins you've got are just on such a massive scale. So anything you've got, I'm like, this is amazing. Love it.
So honestly, when you do like see it, and you think, God, that's like was cabbage leaves, and now it's like compost. It is a kind of great feeling. Do you know what I mean? So definitely. So when, Stephen, are we going to kind of call it a day and say that is finally it? I'm going to empty it and like even if you use it as a mulch, do you know what I mean? When is that?
It'll be before Christmas,
Right.
definitely, because I still want to move the compost heap, dig out flat ground underneath it, and put it back. And then after Christmas, I'll start filling it up again. Because by then, the other one that's in the main tunnel will be full, or as near full as I can get it. So then after Christmas, I'll start on the next one.
Right. Now, Audrey got Jeff's asking here. Let me just put it on. Does Audrey have any garlic left?
Just a little.
Just a little. Are you still giving it away, Audrey? Are you?
Yes, I am. And I tried dehydrating some to see if I could just turn it into garlic powder. And I have some in the freezer with the paper on each clove. So I'm wondering if, like tomatoes, if you freeze a tomato, the skin comes off really easy. So I thought, wow, if I could chuck these in the freezer and all those papers would come off, because honestly, it's a lot of manual labor to get these all ready to be frozen or dehydrated. It just is. So needless to say, only 200 regular garlic went in this year.
It's funny. I've seen Audrey. I've seen some actually YouTubers where they have all the garlic kind of prepped and done, and then they mash it up. Then have you seen the way they put them in plastic bags and draw little lines down and then freeze them like that?
Right.
That's a great idea. But
it is if you have like 50 cloves. But when you have, because once you take 700 bulbs apart, I mean, just do the math on that. That's a ridiculous amount of garlic. So, yeah.
I love it though, Audrey, that you actually did plant it all. Most folks wouldn't. You know what I mean? Most folks would just
I was raised by you don't waste. So, when you have parents under a war, they don't waste anything. So that's how I grew up. So, so I was getting those, and because you pay so much more for seed garlic than for regular garlic. And I thought, no, we're not just going to eat this. I'm planting this.
Well, Audrey, there's a good question then. What is the difference? Seed garlic to like shop bought garlic? Because I used to like buy garlic when we used to go away, like kind of Italy, the little kind of farmers markets.
Yeah, and I wanted to win one of those, and I didn't. I think the seed garlic is more certified as not having fungus or bacteria or disease. Right.
Yes.
I think you can be more sure of that. But I do a pre-soak anyway, so I don't think it would matter. So,
and what did you, Audrey, you said about? Did you say dehydrating some garlic? How did that?
I'm trying it. It stinks the house to high up. It doesn't really smell like garlic while you're dehydrating. It smells like really bad socks.
Oh man!
Like really bad, damp, horrible, wore them for too long socks. So I think if that actually works, we'll be dehydrating out in the garage.
Right.
Because I'm like, oh no, the house can't smell like that.
And what does it look like after it's cooked? Does it just grind down to brittle powder? Does it?
That's what I was hoping, and I was hoping also that the skins would come off quite easily, because the garlic inside would have gotten smaller. So this is more trying to figure out a lazy way to process all of this.
And did the skin come off, or
it's still in the dehydrator?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Also, the house is still stinking.
Oh, my house smells like.
Ooh.
Yeah, nobody wants to visit right now.
That's fab. What may look there like? These are some of my little questions. Oh, Steve, we mentioned, and I'll get on the sofa as well because I guess it's just as important. But you're saying your hot bin, you're going to kind of take that compost out and you're going to use it as a mulch. Is it still? Is it a good time now? If someone's coming into a garden to mulch, like what will you mulch? Just your soil, protect your soil, or why would someone want to mulch?
Just simply just to spread the compost and the live on the soil. You could dig it in if you wanted to. That's no problem as well. It just depends on how you want to operate. I want eventually for the most of my beds and in most of the tunnels and outside to be no dig. So I will just mulch with it and leave it at that. And then as time moves on, I'll see how much I can manage to keep mulched on the allotments as a whole and work it out that way, where I can do no dig and where I can't.
There's a question comes to mind then, Steve, because I'm not, you put your kind of mulch on or your compost on each year and it does sink down and go. Do you think with raised beds, because I haven't had raised beds that long, probably say 3-4 years, something like that.
Right.
Do you get a point where you can't put it any more on, so you'd have to build up your raised bed, or
no,
it'll always just sink down?
Yeah, it'll sink down. The worms will dig it in, and your voles or your mice or whatever, or your rats are digging in there. It comes off on your tools when you're manipulating the soil, or in the roots of the plants when you pull them out. So it always needs replenishing.
Right.
It's always going to sink and degrade away.
Sophie, is it something you're kind of thinking about? You know what I mean, like mulching, just like this new land ready for the next year, or because you said, you've kind of. Is it too early to start thinking about that?
It's just so much, isn't it, to remember? I mean, from what I've been looking into, it's been advised to dig almost like a trench, fill it with manure, and then cover the trench back over. And you can either leave it to the winter to sort of let the coldness get at the soil, or just cover it over with plastic. So I've sort of been doing half and half. So I've covered over with plastic so far. But like you said, I think half of it I might just leave. And then see how I go.
I think what Steve said there, though, is that it's just gold dust advice, you know what I mean? Because it just makes you kind of think, well, it's not a race to kind of, you know what I mean? I'll just enjoy doing it, and you're not going to get like, because once you like this disheartened feeling gets in, it's hard to kind of, you know what I mean? And you kind of, like you say, especially if you've got like, how big is your allotment, Sophie? We'll have to have some pictures next time so we can kind of...
It's a full-size plot, so I'm not really sure. They've not given me the actual details, to be honest. I've got like a brief overview of here's how much to pay, but not really how big your plot is. So I'm not too sure. I'll have to measure it and find out.
That would be nice to...
Right,
let's have a look. Graham's asking... Oh, wait, and Julie's asking. I nearly jumped the gun there. Julie is asking, is it okay to put shredded paper in a compost? Audrey, is that something you would do? I know you've am I right? You've got, you're just bagged, aren't you? You just use bag.
No, I have 2 of those spinny bins, but they're in a location that I can't get to. So I'm going to try cracking those open pretty soon and see what's going on.
Would you put...
I would put shredded paper in there.
Shredded paper.
As long as it's, plain and reasonably unprocessed, as much as cardboard or paper is. Yeah, I'd sure put that in.
What about, I mean, not many people read newspapers nowadays, but, like newspapers with ink on, is that something to like stay away from, do you think?
I would assume, but I think even some of these Amazon boxes we're throwing in there, they have ink on them.
Yeah.
Smiley faces and all that. Yeah, and
sorry, I was going to say it's getting the right sort of ink. Now, I know from when I was in my printing days that you get in general 2 different types of ink. You get water-based ink, which is a matte in its look. And then you get the high gloss or high luster inks. They're ultraviolet set inks, and they're poisonous. So anything that's shiny or glossy, throw it away or recycle it through your paper bin. Anything that's just black and white or matte in appearance is safe.
Mm-hmm. There you go then. Because when you think if your fish and chips used to come on newspapers, so...
There you go.
When I used to do container gardening... Oh, sorry. No, I was going to say, when I used to do container gardening, I did loads of research before I did it, and I got loads of those mushroom crates, and they sort of every person I looked into, they were advising to line the bottom all with newspapers, just like your normal ink newspapers. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping there was nothing wrong with that, because I definitely grew veg.
Yeah.
So
Well, like you say, I've used kind of papers in them blue baskets. You're on about them blue
that's
like
it.
mushroom, yeah.
Yeah.
So, oh well, papers, Julie. Yes, just put shredded paper in, but not like say the glossy magazines, and
Right.
that's not the way to go, Stephen. After all these magazines, you'll have to not compost them, lad. I'm trying to think of ladies' magazines, but when I start saying the word magazines, it's like a slightly more stranger connotations of the type of magazines you're keeping. Right, moving on. Graham Bolton is saying, if I put leaves on his beds, will it rot down enough for spring if he just leaves them on the top? Now, Stephen, we'll jump to you for that one straight away, because I've had, like, say, the leaves in the leaf bin, the compost bin, leaf bin, but it's for me, it seems to take a while to break down. Do you know what I mean? So I'm thinking, one, they might blow away. Two, it would take longer. Am I kind of right in that assertion?
Yeah, you've got a number of ways of doing it. You can trim them first or mow them to get them smaller, and you can put them through your compost heap with grass or something like that to rot them down, and then put them on your beds. But if you just put them down on your beds, two things are going to happen, really, is the wind is going to blow them away over winter, and I don't think worms are going to eat that much over the winter to drag them down into your soil. So you probably want to incorporate them, dig them into your soil, or rot them down as part of a compost and then mulch with the compost later.
Steve, I've heard somewhere, and I don't know if this is just kind of like these kind of myths that get passed down, but there's certain leaves that aren't good for your garden, and I was always told like beech leaves weren't good for your garden. Is this just like an urban myth, and all kind of tree leaves
Probably,
are good?
because I've used them all. I don't use the coniferous leaves. I don't use pine cones and those sort of things. But any of the broadleaf trees, any of the deciduous trees, I'll use all those leaves. And I believe camellias and rhododendrons might be poisonous, but I don't really know.
So, have you got trees near you where you can kind of make like a basket or like a bin, and are you collecting
my garden gets absolutely flooded with them, but in spring and not in autumn. I don't know what's going on with that tree, but in spring I've got like 3 bags of leaf mold sitting in my shed. So yeah, I already had it way before everyone else was collecting leaves. Don't know why.
What kind of tree is it then, Soph?
I have no idea. It's meant to be an apple tree, but it's also encompassed 3 other trees that have grown around it. So you've got like the head of the tree, the apples grow in the middle, then you've got a different tree here and then a different tree here. So I think it's meant to be an apple tree. I'll try and get a picture of it when it's all back again. I'll get a picture of it. It's the strangest thing. It's so strange.
But it does kind of give off like lots of leaves, so you can kind of
loads.
Well,
absolutely
that's kind of
loads.
free compost, and it's a lovely feeling getting like free compost. Do you know what I mean? I got them bags from the house here and took them up and saying there was at the beginning 9 bags of compost, so makes you know what I mean. So
good, isn't it?
Audrey, I think we've talked about mulching on your beds as well before, but you do mulch, is that right?
I do. I do a lot of chop and drop now. That's my new.
That's right.
My new thing.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, the stuff that we dropped just a month or so ago, it's already almost gone. So I'm very pleased with that. I'm very pleased with that.
So
only bed left to mulch is my asparagus bed, which is still not totally dead. All the fronds up top are not totally dead. So probably this week I'll get that one mulched, and then I'm done.
Well, Audrey, I was going to ask you one question, but I'll jump on another one there with the. Do you have to let the asparagus die off totally, or is that it's a bit like a daffodil bulb? You let the goodness go back into the roots.
Right. It's about letting the energy from those leaves. We're going to call them leaves. They don't look like leaves, but to those plants they are. Let that go back into the bulb. So I wait till they're brown, like they're dead. and then I can cut it all down and mulch it nice for next spring.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well,
Yeah.
there we go. I'm just having a little look. I'll tell you what, we'll talk about one of my little subjects here. What makes a good garden path? Now, Sophie, you'll need some garden paths if it's just all.
I do.
How are you getting your head around it? Have you got your layout sorted there now so you can kind of, where you're going? I don't
have
mean
it
have you
drawn
got your layout so we can see it. Have you got your layout? Have you got your layout in your head kind of done?
Yeah. It's all. I've got it already. I'm visualizing it. But I think I'm going to go for wood chip paths just because it's stuff what we have, so I can
Right.
use it, I guess.
And have you got plenty? Oh, they give you. Is that right? They give you wood chip.
Massive whole bay just going collecting wood chip in my dreamland.
You know what I mean? It's like allotment gardening for the, you know what I mean? The 101 easy kind of stuff. There.
I know. It's my reward for having to slog away that hill. So
yes,
I'm raping it in there.
So you've give that one up, haven't you? Now then, Soph, have you? Like you've said goodbye to it, or?
Well, I literally just paid for the year as I found the new one. So I've got it for the year, and I've still got stuff growing on it. So I'm just going to start winding that plot down now and take everything off it slowly.
I'll tell you what will be, you know what I mean? Because obviously you're not going to be digging that over, but it'll be interesting for you to watch it go to waste. Do you know what I mean? Because they're not going to put anybody on it while you've paid for it. So that's going to be really a year of you just neglecting it, basically.
Yeah. It's really sad. I go up there and it feels like a ghost town. It just doesn't, the love isn't there anymore. The vision has gone. The vision has gone elsewhere.
Never.
I know, it's horrible. And even the little robin that I see there, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to see you anymore. It's all going.
That's brutal.
I've just got visions of this robin turning round and giving it a cold shoulder.
How dare you?
Stephen, what makes, because I've got a couple of like pictures here, like a good path, because that's them. I quite like that idea, but I think they'll just get all clogged up. Those are the like the kind of matting things. What makes a good path? So you don't really.
Well, you know me. I've got several different types of paths. I've got grass paths, which at this time of year are a nightmare because they get waterlogged and they turn to mud. In the summer, they need cutting and trimming. I've got hard standing paths. They're probably the best thing. Patio pavers. They're probably the best thing. Or bricks actually look very nice if you can get enough of them and lay them. I've got some bricks to lay as well for a path somewhere. So a combination, but definitely wood chip is a brilliant one because you can get another use for it later on by using that wood chip, letting it rot down, and you can mix that with your leaf mold to make compost. So it's a win-win, that is.
What, because you've got this theory, Steve, I'm right in thinking you've got a technique of making your beds a certain distance so you're not kind of, because that's all the super goal is to get them the lovely, nice width so you're not kind of clattering around with your wheelbarrow or getting jammed in. Yeah. So can you just tell again, Stephen, how you measure or what you do to kind of measure for a nice wide path?
I think I know where you're going with this one. The main path in is 3 foot, and that's for Anne in her wheelchair so that she can get access on all the main paths. The paths between the beds I'm making recently are 2 foot wide. And to make the bed size, what I do is I kneel down at the edge of the bed, stretch over comfortably and put a cane in. And I use twice that distance for the size of the bed. And that's to get the ideal size bed for you and your family. I mean, because many people will say 4 foot, but for some people, tall family, it might be 5 foot. Mm-hmm. But for, if you diddy bops, it might only be 3 foot.
Why are you still hanging on to your grass paths then, Steve? Because I would imagine like they do get, just when I walk the dogs, we're walking on grass paths to get clotted up to the eyeballs and.
Yeah.
Why are you still? Is it just because you haven't getting round to kind of sorting?
No, just I haven't got the materials to do anything else with them at the minute. So as soon as I've got either a massive load of wood chip or some paving stones or some other material, I will put paths in there. But I'm not particularly going out looking for it. But as soon as I've got that come by, then I'll make pathways.
If you've seen a tree surgeon, would you have the nerve to go up to them and ask for some free wood chip?
Oh God, yeah! By the time I finish talking to him, he's inviting me round for Christmas dinner too. You've always got to say hello, because if you don't ask, you don't get. Simple as that.
Audrey, what about paths for you then? Is kind of paths a crucial thing for you, or?
Well, they're mainly grass, but I also have wood chip. Because again, it's my backyard. It's not an allotment, so I think they look prettier with grass. And this year, I think I'm going to try to put some mushroom spores on my wood chip ones that are more shaded, and see if I can get some mushrooms.
You know your wood chip ones in, Audrey, do you put like a kind of a weed membrane down first out of curiosity, or then that's what I did. I just kind of.
And it's wow, that thing is strong. I planted a blackberry through it this year, and we almost needed to get a chisel out to get through that stuff. I mean, it was strong. So it's working. There were no weeds.
It's funny because like I've got it on my wood chip area of the allotment, and like I say, it's brutal stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's just like what weeds can get through, you know what I mean? Good luck to them. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're thinking, well,
right, but then you pull them out and they don't come back really fast.
No,
they work really hard to get through. So yeah, I'm very pleased with those.
So in Detroit, then, Audrey, do you get your wood chip free? You know, do you go up to the nerve to ask like trees? No, you gotta.
No, there's nothing really free around here. And the ones that are free, like our city does some, but I talked to the guy who was, chopping up wood, because you just lay your branches out on our front lawn, like near the street, and they come and chip them up. He goes, I wouldn't touch this stuff because most of the trees in here are diseased and dying, like they were dying of a disease. You don't want to put this anywhere near where you're growing something. I thought, good point.
Right, yeah. Oh, nice. Oh, at least he told you. Do you know what I mean? So I guess.
Yeah, I know.
But
like Steve, have a talk and see, like, okay, what kind of stuff goes in here? He goes, I'm telling you, I wouldn't touch it. Wow. And this is the guy that does it. So I'm thinking, wow, if he wouldn't. Don't tell me that twice.
So you I guess you go and you buy it as bagged, do you? Or do you buy it loose?
No, I buy it bagged.
Right.
Easier. Hubby's getting a wee bit older, so he doesn't want to. He just wants to take it out bag at a time.
Yeah.
God bless him. Thank you for doing it. Yes.
Oh, yes. Right. Let's just see if we have Pauline. Let me just pull up Pauline there. Pauline's talking about potatoes. I'm wanting to save some of my potatoes I harvested this year to grow next year. How do I stop them from sprouting early? Stephen, how would Audrey tackle that then Pauline, from sprouting them early?
It's keeping them cool, dark, and frost-free, really. I mean, I've got second earlies and main crop potatoes in storage now, and they shouldn't, second earlies may sprout before Christmas, but certainly my main crop shouldn't be sprouting until next February, March. They're sprouting now because it's been so mild. So unless you've got somewhere cooler to put them, Pauline, I don't think you're going to get away with that, to be honest. I just think it's just too warm this time of year.
Steve, you're funny, because I was just thinking when you were saying there, it's almost like a fight. Do you know what I mean? Because you find somewhere cool and it's too cool, because my shed outside, I put my onions there, and I noticed it was they're not looking so nice in there, so I've had to bring the onions back in because they were getting little bits of white mold damp on the onions. They were perfect onions, but obviously it's damp in there, so you're trying to battle with the dampness. So you know what I mean? So it's
Oh, yes. Always a fight.
There was always a fight. And I was just thinking, just thinking about like Pauline trying to. It might just be, best to get them from a proper supplier. I know it's a lovely kind of, to save them.
Certainly this year for next year, probably better to get them from a supplier.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, normally I save some of my own Sarpomeras to grow again the next year, and I've done that for a few years. I haven't even dug mine up yet; they're still in buckets, but hopefully they haven't sprouted again, because otherwise I'll be going and buying some.
Well, you actually kind of told. I think we talked about it on the show here about I'm keeping mine in the buckets at the moment, and I haven't kind of. You know what I mean? Looked at them, and I'm not going to keep any for next year for planting. But it's more this kind of. I don't want to if I bring them all in, then eventually some will go to waste. And I thought, well, I'm going to just try this method to keep them in. And I've seen a few people do it, so I'm hoping.
I did it last year.
Uh-huh.
I was emptying my buckets, I think, a week before I was planting this year's crop. So I left it really late.
Right, I'm just reading more questions there now. Mark's just asking there while we're kind of jump on there. Some of my onions seem to be rotting from the inside. Any idea what's causing this? I wonder if that's maybe it's getting down through the the kind of you cut your top off.
Yeah.
I found that a couple of times a couple of years where I've cut it too short, an onion, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
and the wet can get in
pretty quick.
I think it's not neck rot, I don't think, but it might be. I'm sure it's something along the lines of neck rot.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when you cut the tops off, you're supposed to bend them over, and you used to tie them up with raffia to stop anything getting in. But yeah,
mine it's a gut wrenching feeling when you've got all your onions and you cut one in half and it's rotten the hell and back. You know what I mean? You think, man. Or that feeling when you've went again when I'm saying in the hut, your storage, and you pick up an onion which were fine when you put them in, and it's all just a little bit soft, and you think.
And then you go to your potatoes and you put your hand in the potato sack and you pull out a mouldy one.
I know.
And you think, what's going on? Spent all year growing that.
So, have you had any kind of disasters like that when you were just starting, the hardships of trying to preserve your vegetables?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've not done too much preserving, but I have had something similar with onions. So the few onions that I did manage to save, the latter of the ones that I hadn't used, they did start to get mouldy around the outside and all weird. And I think it was just the damp, where it's just been continuously wet. And I had them in the shed, so I think that was the issue.
it's a total kind of battle. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Audrey, what about you then? Because trying to save, you're into preserving, but you've got a Detroit cold there. You must have to bring everything inside, do you?
Yeah, I was trying to save some potatoes outside, and they are now frozen in their bag. So we're going to try to figure out how we can bring those in. And my husband will lose his mind if I bring in a bag that has been outside into the house because of all the creepy crawlies that might decide to come out of it. But I would kind of like to get those out if I could. I have carrots in there too.
That's right. I was going to ask you, Audrey, because I'm sure I've seen in our little kind of private WhatsApp chat that bags of carrots, your carrots are all frozen now because you got hit with it.
Yep. So it rained yesterday, so I'm hoping maybe that will have softened it up a little bit. But my son was here over the weekend, and he was chiseling the bag, and I thought, okay, we're not going to do that. That's crazy. Okay, so we have to figure out another way to get them warm. If we get them warm enough, we'll get them out. But
will they be okay, Audrey?
We will see. I have no idea, and a part of me thinks if they're kind of frozen, I'm going to process them quick and get them in the freezer, because then, then it's already a frozen product. We'll just keep it frozen. We'll see. And the potatoes, I would like to try to see if I could, grow a few of my own from these next year. So I was going to say to Pauline, and I'm not sure where she is, but I wrap mine in newspaper or tissue paper or brown paper, whatever, and I keep them in my basement. Now, I'm not sure if you have a lot of basements in the UK. We do. So I have a really dark corner closet that I put them in, and they pretty much can make it
Right.
in there because it's an unheated closet. So, but it never freezes.
Right. I'm just trying to find another question there, but I'm just looking the top of the. I think we're at the top of the hour there, so we will get to the tips, should I say, of the week. Let's hit Sophie straight away. Sophie, your tip of the week for her, please.
It's hard with my tips because I feel like everyone already knows them. But mine's just because I've been doing a lot of digging. I'll just give a quick digging tip that I found quite easy. If you struggle with dealing with big areas at one time, I sort of go over with a edging tool, mark out little squares, and then just pop all the squares out. And it's so easy. Just keep popping these little squares as you go. So yeah, just if we did have any other newbies, just to sort of in your digging.
So how big are you? How big are your little squares you pop it out? What?
Probably. So for reference, I'd probably go about like size of A4. I guess this is A4. If not bigger, whatever you can manage really, but just something that's a bit more bite-sized. I found that's really helped.
Just on your allotment then, so what time scale have you given yourself to kind of for next year? Do you think you'll get like say half of it done this year, like coming up, or is it
half of it? I think half definitely. I mean, I'm going to get quite a big polytunnel put up, so that's going to take up one section, one half anyway. And then the rest will just be little beds. So
I wonder how long it had been left from one to you coming. You know what I mean?
I need to find out. I do need to find out because the state of some of the asparagus there, it's definitely like it's been left. I mean, a lot. There's people that have had plots a lot worse than what I received mine in, but still, I think it's been left for a while. But I'll find out.
Mm-hmm. Audrey, your tip of the week, please. Don't freeze your carrots outside is probably
well, I think that was my tip for last week was because that's kind of where we are. I guess my thing is if you're really itching to garden, buy more seeds.
Yes, why not? Spend a little bit of money and get it.
That's been my philosophy for the last couple of weeks as we've been in this deep freeze. I'm being a bit of an addict right now, and my addiction is real. And I get nice big boxes of seeds every day. Lovely. And that kind of quelches my need to pull in a harvest, and I'm planning heavily for next year. So, that's not much of a tip.
No, it's still, you know what I mean?
I mean, it's just where it is right now in the season. I don't want to give someone, how to sow something like that. It's not, we're not there right now. So, yeah.
Won't be long over here.
We will not be.
JB will be sowing his chilies in January probably. So.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Stephen, your tip of the week, sir.
Kind of got two for you this week, really. The first one, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, is to keep hoeing your beds in winter. If they're vacant, the plants, and you're not covering them over, hoe them once a week. Because even tiny microscopic weeds, you might think that they're only that big. I'll get them next week. Next week never comes. Get them this week. Get them every week. And also at this time of year, while you're going about your normal daily life, keep your eye open for composting materials. Somebody might have a pile of leaves somewhere that they want rid of, or some grass clippings, or some, there might be some alpaca poo or something down one of the local stables. Just keep your eye open for all these materials and keep your compost heaps topped up, or save the materials to make a new compost heap.
While I forgot, this is what I was going to ask you, Stephen, because there's been a little, not debate on, but I've seen a few people mentioning mine about, like, my video today. Did I show you that one? That one there? Please, go.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. That cardboard, a lot of people or a few people were saying they like to have it wet, and that's what I was doing because it's way easier just to kind of mulch it up. But you mentioned, Steve, that you like it dry because that, like, when you put it in your compost, it sucks out the water, which is that kind of like making like the heat gets this heat up quick. So is there a right way and a wrong way, or is it just like...
No, it's pretty much everyone does their own thing, and everyone does their own thing in their own way. If for instance I've got some tomato plants to cut down this week, and they'll be going on the compost heap. That's relevant because the stems are about this thick. So when they go in the compost heap chopped up, they'll create air spaces, and that will create a nice air layer for the compost heap. If I didn't have them, I would scrunch the cardboard up, and that would create an air layer. Now, if I already had an air layer, then a green layer, then another bit of cardboard, I would probably wet that cardboard because I don't need that air layer. Do you see what I mean? So you're making bulk. You're trying to get all the different materials into your compost heap that you need to make a reasonable compost.
I know we're making it sound more complicated, but it's in the end of the day.
It's not complicated. It isn't. As long as you've got a good mix of green and browns in there, and water and air, Mother Nature will take over for you and get it done for you.
Don't you think if you fully understand the process and what you're trying to accomplish, it's more common sense based on what you're adding, right?
Yes.
Like what you add next and what that needs. So I think it's about really kind of understanding what the whole composting process is. And then I think then you can make decisions on the fly and do very well.
Yeah.
There we go then. Well, listen, Steve, Sophie and Audrey, thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome.
A pleasure.
Thank you.
Never a chore.
Can I ask something, Tony?
Go on.
Have you spent all this show with your fly open?
No, the actual zip is it was all morning.
I just thought
all morning. Yeah. Thank you very much for reminding everybody there. Someone mentioned on the show, Tony modestly turned around and zipped it up, but then faced everybody in them houses with them windows. Nobody could see us. You know what I mean?
Well, good point.
Yes. Well, listen, big thank you to everybody. Thank you so much for coming watching on. We'll hopefully be here next week, next Monday, and more of your gardening fun. What else was I going to say? Anything? Oh, they've got a little button there. Don't forget to subscribe. That would be fantastic if you could. Let me just press that button again. Was it not? There we go. Subscribe to the show. Tell everyone about the show. That would be lovely. And we'll see you next week. Take care. Look after yourself. Doodle bip.
Bye. Bye-bye.